Hello, cyberspace. It's me, Angie, and I welcome both you and your ears to an episode of Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. In case you're wondering who Angie is, I'm Angie, and I'm super stoked to spend some time sharing with y'all some of my experiences and thoughts on living, loving, music, and space travel, or spiritual experiences as I often refer to as space travel. A rather broad spectrum, right? Well, my hope is to always share something that resonates with, intrigues, excites, or perhaps inspires you. On that note, I invite you to sit back, buckle up, and take a little trip out into the cosmos with me. Hello to you, my fellow Earth travelers. It's me, Angie, coming to you from cyberspace, North Carolina specific, where my feet are planted at the moment, but cyberspace, this spectacular technology that brings us together. Thanks for joining me. I'm here recording on a Tuesday evening, episode 20. Dun, 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 dun. Holy moly. Yep, episode 20. Holy shit. I actually made it. 20 episodes. I can hardly believe it. I'll try not to say 20 too many times, but it's a pretty big fucking deal to me. Pardon the profanity, but that's how I feel. It's a really big deal. I made it this far. I made it to 10, made it to 20. I am really enjoying this podcast experience. It's been a pretty wild ride and a pretty therapeutic practice for me, in all truth. Just thinking about when I started this journey, it was it was shortly after I got here to North Carolina, kind of starting a whole new chapter in my earthly experience, on my earthly journey, whatever it is I want to call it. This new life that I am living. Divorced. Yeah, not married anymore. Didn't ever think I'd be single again. Had just turned 50 for the most part. And living with mom and dad. And so via my dear friend Alex, who introduced me to the whole podcast world. I didn't know anything about podcasting. I've said it before. I had never listened to a podcast. I'm an old school media gal, loves music, but I listen to 8-tracks, cassette tapes, CDs, vinyl records, and the good old radio. When he introduced me to the podcast world, I really just listened to his podcast, The Builder's Journey. Definitely check it out. Alex Mintling, The Builder's Journey. He's actually coming up on kind of an anniversary of his own that sent him kind of into the direction of podcasting also. He has a great episode called Shit Happens, and it's kind of a bit of his life story. I think it's July 21st that is an anniversary for him of sorts, and I'd say definitely check out The Builder's Journey. He'll have a kind of an anniversary episode that he's going to be airing, so you can learn more about him there. But anyway, I found my way into the podcast world, and it's been, as I've said already, it's been a really wonderful platform for me to share my own experience with life in general, this new journey, a very healthy way for me to get my stuff out there. I've actually just kind of come up on some new areas of growth, and today's episode is mostly going to be geared around the idea of what's in a name. So if anyone knows, I'd say the men don't know it. And yet there's still, I'm sure, they experience divorce and experience everything that comes along with an ending relationship. But for us gals who have perhaps taken on somebody else's name, what a wild ride of getting back to my name. I know a lot of people keep their married name for a long time. My ex and I did not have children together. I have a spectacular, wonderful, funny, smart, very talented stepdaughter who I love dearly. She's the closest thing I have had to a child. I've known her since she was 10. Courtney, I love you. She has a great TikTok page, and I think she calls it My Small Town Bar. You can check that out on TikTok. She's funny. She's the closest thing. Otherwise, it was, the idea of, I don't know, why people keep their married names. It seems strange to me. It seemed strange to me, I guess, until I've now been in the process of trying to change my name back. And oh my goodness, what a tedious process. It was a tedious process to change it in the beginning. My name is Angie. I think my information's already out there, but my maiden name is Shy, S-H-Y. That's the name I grew up with. Sort of a stage name on its own. I've been asked over and over, especially when I was younger. I still get asked today, how do you spell that? Yes, it is just S-H-Y. And I remember thinking I was the only one days before the internet and Google and Ancestry and all this stuff, and come to find out there are plenty of Shies out there. But anyway, that's the name that I grew up with. My best friend, my dear friend in high school, her last name was Sweet. So we were Sweet and Shy. And admittedly, it was challenging for me to give up my name. When I did get married, I know it took me at least a year. I was just kind of looking through, Googling anniversary gifts, traditional gifts. And so I'm guessing it must have been at about a year. I thought it was 2 years before I changed my name, but I remember that I gave my husband, the anniversary gift that I gave him was with the understanding that the gift was paper. And the gift that I gave him was my Social Security card. He did not find the humor or the depth, I guess, as I saw the gift, which was that I was no longer Angela Shy. I was now Angela with his last name. And from that point on, changed all of my stuff. I changed the bank account and whatever credit cards I had, and that was it. I became this sort of other person. I feel like, I guess it sounds kind of silly, but there was some grief around changing the name. Many years. As I've mentioned, I lived in Colorado for 27 years. People still always called me Angie Shy. And I was okay with that. So now, as of December 16th of 2020, included in the divorce decree was that I could change my name back. And it's taken until about a month ago for me to actually change it back on other information. What a tedious process that would be easy to give up on. But I have found that for me, what is in a name, I wouldn't feel right. I feel like I'd still be connected. I know I would. I still see mail with the married name on it. I'm not married anymore. So it doesn't seem healthy for me to keep the last name. There's still a part of me that sees it and gets pulled back every time. I don't want to say that's not who I am, as I've been listening to the fantastic Michael Singer. Yes, my life is changing every second as I listen to Michael Singer's teachings. I really love him. I mentioned him before. He wrote The Untethered Soul, among many other books, and I'm presently listening to his audiobook, Living from a Place of Surrender, The Untethered Soul in Action. He talks a lot about, who am I? Are you in there? And so I know I'm not my name, but a part of this journey, definitely just living in the human experience, is that the name makes a difference, I suppose. So I've been on this tedious journey of changing the name. Since moving to North Carolina, up until yesterday, I had been to the DMV at least 3 times. Each time I went in there, I was told that I needed different information. And the truth was, I couldn't find my Social Security card. I moved here from Colorado stuff packed in my car. Stuff is still in my storage unit in Colorado. These changes, how do we keep all the paperwork? How does anyone keep that stuff in order? Do people actually keep their stuff in order? I burned so much paperwork. My ex-husband took most of the paperwork. He also burned some of it. How do you keep that stuff organized? So even though I thought I had it in my little mini safe, when I went to look for it, I couldn't find my Social Security card. So I go into the DMV with the mishmash of stuff that I had: my Colorado driver's license, an old Colorado driver's license. One had my married name, one had my maiden name. I had my old Social Security card. I had a copy of my birth certificate. I had an expired passport, none of which worked. And they sent me right out. I came home, tried to look for some other stuff, went back in, was told I needed my divorce decree. I could not imagine where that was. So they also sent me to the Social Security office. Then I went to the Social Security office, and I ended up being able to, I thought I was just going to go in and get a new Social Security card, a replacement card. And I ended up getting it changed back to my maiden name. However that worked out, it's kind of unbelievable. Must have been in the stars, which just caused more confusion ultimately in the end, because I went back to the DMV and they said, well, we still need the divorce decree. Oh my goodness. I then had to contact the courthouse in Colorado. Reminder, I have to get online and actually pay that fee. Yes, there's a fee to get the paperwork, but the very kind woman sent me the paperwork, and I eventually made it back into the DMV. It was actually yesterday. Went in with the paperwork, sat in the office for 2.5 hours, and left with a North Carolina driver's license. I am in a few different places. So according to the Social Security Department, I am officially Angela Shy again. According to North Carolina, I am officially Angela Shy again. And now I just have the continued tedious process of changing all of the other information over. It's interesting. I talk about my emotional journey through this experience that I am still in the midst of. Going through divorce, life changing, things definitely not turning out the way that I expected, hoped. They haven't even turned out the way I feared ultimately in the end. But this, taking the time to do this stuff, has been very healing for me. I would be very curious to hear from other people out there. If anyone wants to leave a message on my website, you can actually leave a voice message. Send me an email. I would love to hear other people's experience with this. Is it as important to you as I guess it's been to me to change your name back? Yeah, what's in a name? I suppose as I ask myself that question, and I am sort of repeating myself, but that it does mean something. I believe it's leading me, maybe I'm fooling myself, but that it's leading me in a further direction of closure around the fact that my marriage is over. I could easily avoid that truth in many ways, and yet the very healthy part of me does not want to do that. I am finding independence, I suppose, in getting back to being Angie Shy. And I don't know if I would ever change my name again. I find still, I'm like, what a strange, would that be considered a patriarchal practice? Man, the guys don't have to go through that. They just get to fill out the paperwork, do whatever. I don't mean to make light around the divorce process. I don't think is easy for anybody. But to add on that extended part about making it so difficult to get back to my name, that would make me really never want to do it again. I really feel like And so I'm going to go right to pod decks. I love pod decks. Props to pod decks. Travis, thanks for putting pod decks together. I'm not exactly sure which deck of cards it's in. Maybe it's the New Year deck or something like that. But it says, what is something that is non-negotiable about your future? And right now I'm thinking non-negotiable about my future would be changing my name again. I don't know that I will ever do that as an act of, I want you to know how much I love you, or I'm going to change my name for you just to prove to you that I'm really giving myself to you. Yeah, so that's a non-negotiable for any further relationship I might find myself in. At this point, a relationship seems very far out of the way. I'm pretty happy, although at times I can feel as though I'm longing for some level of companionship. I'm definitely happy to have my furry babes, Marshmallow, laying in front of me, sleeping probably with a big bellyache because I guess she ate half of my mom's food off of her plate, jumped on the table, ate her, whatever it is, pork loin and something, and her stomach is gurgling. But I'm happy to have her and the chipster dude sleeping somewhat silently by my side, sharing relationships with the parents and the brother. Yeah. That's it. It's official. I've had my name back to Angie Shy on my Facebook page for a while, and I think it says it on my website page, but I can now say that I'm back. And it is interesting to think about, I don't know, kind of getting back to who I am, who I was. Am I saying any of this stuff right? Who was I before I was married? Did I change after I married and changed my name? Is there too much tied up in the identity I kind of connect to my name? What's in a name? What does it matter? And I suppose the truth is that it does matter to me to a certain extent. Although I'm very sad I don't want to say I'm very sad. There is sadness and grief around no longer having my married name. I did not take it lightly when I changed my name, and it was just a further act of commitment for me. But life is not the way I want it to be, and people are generally not doing what I want them to do. And as living from a place of surrender continues to tell me, that's the way things are. Life is not supposed to be the way I want it to be. It's not here for me. I am getting the opportunity to live this incredible earthly experience. Every bit of it. The great stuff and the seemingly not so great stuff. And with a twist on my perspective of things, the seemingly not so great stuff can also be great. And just transitioning, this episode 20 will be filled with a few other things. I'm going to transition to some of the great stuff. I am about to turn 51. This is going to sound silly, I think, but there was a time when I used to think that when I turned 50, that I was then beginning my 50th year. As I'm sure all of you out there know, and you're listening to me thinking, what? Of course that's the way it is. That's not the way it is. I have finished my 50th year. I'm actually about to be 51. And yes, that means I've finished my 51st year. And we'll be heading into 52. And I'm excited. Y'all know I am a music fan. And this has just been a wonderful musical year for me, including Brit Floyd, Jazz Fest, which had Lionel Richie, the Chili Peppers, The Who, amongst some absolutely spectacular jazz musicians. I also got to see Widespread Panic. Well, this Friday, I'm going to see definitely a bucket lister, Dave Matthews Band. Yep, I went and splurged. I didn't actually even splurge. I won't call it that because the ticket price was great. I'm totally giving shout outs to all my favorite things. The cashoretrade.org website is a face value fair trade website. You can buy tickets, you can sell tickets, you can find them to any and pretty much every band you want out there. It's a great format, great platform for ticket stuff. And I found some spectacular seats, great ticket price. And so I'm going to see Dave Matthews Band this Friday. Have never seen them. I really could not be more excited in Raleigh I think it's Walnut Creek is the name of the venue. And I'm going with my brother. Very exciting. So that will finish out 50, I guess. Yeah, I'm going to be 51. That's what it is. So it's going to finish out 51, maybe. And after I turn, quote, 51, next Friday, I got tickets to go see Phish. I haven't seen Phish since the 90s. They opened up for Santana a long, long time ago. I also got great tickets for that, a great ticket price, and I got some pit tickets to see Phish at Walnut Creek, also on the Cash or Trade website. And I'm taking my brother. So I'll be going to see them for the second time. He'll be seeing them for the 91st time, I think. Yeah. He is not a beginner like myself. But I'm excited to ring out last year, ring in this new trip around the sun, both music-wise. I'm definitely excited. I'll also just throw out there, tonight I went to see the new Elvis movie. What a spectacular movie. Every bit worth the 3 hours. I think it was at least 3 hours long. I was not an Elvis fan. There are songs that I like. I'm not familiar with his music other than the kind of the hits and the real, I don't know. I didn't really know much about him. And the story was really kind of focused on the terrible manager, I think, that he had, who took advantage of him, and pretty sad situation. The whole story there was a very sad deal. He was 42 when he died, for goodness sake. Pretty hard to believe. But the music in the movie was spectacular. Memphis. I don't know how I know Graceland and Tennessee and all of that stuff, but it just kind of, I never really got that idea that he was really that sort of a musician. So I highly suggest for any music fans to go see the Elvis flick. The actor was great. I'm sorry that I don't know his name. He's a young, new, I don't know, I want to say up and coming. He's not an actor that I'm familiar with, but he did a fantastic job, as did Tom Hanks, in probably the first role where he played a creep. But he did it very well. And I don't know if it was makeup or if he actually put on the weight for the part, but he really took on the role. Good stuff. Really, really good stuff. That is sort of what I've got going on. I will say I did pull out a few other pod deck questions just to kind of throw in there. This next one, I almost want to say it's like maybe in the WTF deck. And I'll put it right in with the music stuff. When you were a kid, did you have any posters on your wall? If so, what? And 3 come directly to mind. One of them was John Bon Jovi. Yeah, we all had the super big posters, the wall-filling posters. John Bon Jovi with the big hair. And then I had a poster of Motley Crue, all 4 of them. Anyone who's from that area, that time frame, the 80s, mid to late 80s, will know that poster. And then Michael Jackson Thriller. I definitely remember having those 3 posters. I loved posters. I used to go to the store all the time. That's kind of what you did. Went and got posters and kept your favorite bands, or I'm sure guys hung up Heather Locklear and whatever hot models were up, but those were my posters. And then another question out of the decks is, what's the longest you've ever waited in line for something, and what was it? And I'm pretty sure, I gotta say it could possibly have been longer, but I don't think so. 12 hours. I remember waiting in line for 12 hours for Grateful Dead tickets at the Knickerbocker Arena in Albany, New York. That was also late 80s, early 90s, possibly. I'm not sure if that was their Dozin' at the Nick tour. That was not the name of the tour, but they definitely put out the CD collection, Dozin' at the Nick, 12 hours on the sidewalk with a few friends. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Jim Earl was there, Roman Covell was there, John Du Bois was there, most likely, the four of us at least. Perhaps some other people, and I apologize if I've forgotten. But yeah, music is, good golly, Miss Molly, it is what keeps me going. Definitely what keeps me going. And lately, audiobooks, especially Michael Singer. I love personal growth, spiritual growth, life getting easier in ways. Life just seems to be getting better. I mean, to be going through what I'm going through. I know I try and share that message pretty much in every podcast episode I put out, I think. For anyone out there suffering in some way, shape, or form, struggling with life's challenges, please keep going. Keep studying. Keep growing. Expose yourself to things that have to do with growth and change. And the fact that this fucking trip we're on, this earthly experience is amazing. It's really amazing. Just hear each of us experiencing it in a way that only we will experience. I mean, in this book in particular, Michael Singer kind of gives a very brief and yet in-depth talk on the way the universe was created. It's spectacular to think about the stars and that we really do all come from stardust. And then if I'm upset with the way things are and that things aren't going my way and life is not the way I want it to be, that's actually pretty ridiculous. Whatever takes place, the fact that I get to experience this human experience is it is amazing. It's amazing. And that's how I'm feeling right now. And I know that there will be more challenges and feelings of loss. Nobody here gets out alive and all the heavier things that come and pull us under. But I have found that things can be easier. They don't have to be such a struggle. But it has taken me placing myself in and around people and information that provide a pathway to looking at life from a different perspective. Between that and, admittedly, I've talked about it many times, my journey with the ketamine infusions, that's been life-changing for me as well. I'm not going to lie about that. It has just blasted all of the knowledge that I have otherwise into a fifth dimension, maybe. I'll call it a fifth dimension. And every bit of knowledge that I've gained, I'm able to use it and implement it so much easier than I have ever been able to do before. That is, I kind of think, it. Oh, for anyone who's a Costco member, I'm just going to throw this out. I went and got gas at Costco today, and it was $4.05 a gallon. I was pretty happy with that. $4.05 a gallon. We were in Myrtle Beach recently, Mom and I think it was $3.58 a gallon. Lots of stuff going on in the world, lots of challenges, and yet if I can stay focused, I guess, on what I can control and what I can't control and find gratitude in life being the way it is and not the way I want it to be, and see this journey for the amazing ride that it can be, perhaps that perspective will rub off on other people. And maybe we won't have so many people out there trying to make life suit their desires. I think that, there's so many people out there fighting. They want things to be the way they want them to be. They want you to do what they want you to do. Want me to do what they want me to do. This is my super utopian perspective on things. Just imagine if we were all really stoked with this planet and this life experience that many of us just overlooking. Instead of living it, we're disregarding the spectacular opportunity that lies in front of us every moment of the day. So recently, I will close it out, and I apologize if there's any lip smacking or I feel like I'm excited. Maybe the volume's up. I need to get a kind of a better office setup. That's part of my goal eventually, because I'm sort of bent over and I don't have the best office setup. It's really, my microphone is at the end of the bed. I'm hunched over on my seat, but it is what it is, and it's fine for now. This was one of Michael Singer's quotes recently, and it just really resonates with me, and perhaps it'll resonate with you. Here we go. It says, "There is always a moment unfolding in front of you. Dig it. Pay attention to it. Remember where it came from." That's Michael Singer. I love what he has to say. And that's kind of connected to the fact that remember where it came from. We really did come from the stars. All science shows us that, and that does not put God out of the picture, because I feel like the Creator created everything that allowed our universe and everything with it to come into existence. But it's like, it is pretty spectacular. All of it. The rainy days, the cloudy days, the lightning, the thunder, the warmth, the heat, every bit of this ride is incredible, because outside of our existence, there's really pretty much nothing out there. So how amazing that we get to live this. I hope that everyone can find their way to that thought process and stop fighting over bullshit that doesn't matter, and perhaps taking responsibility for our actions. Each one of us is and has a big part in, obviously, the way our lives are. If you don't like something, maybe change what you can, or just change your perspective on it. Thanks for listening. I appreciate beyond measure this opportunity that I have to share myself with you. And I would love it if y'all would share yourself with me. Feel free, please check out the website, www.lifelovemusicandspacetravel.com. Leave a review, listen to my other episodes if you want. Maybe something will resonate with you. Send me an email. Let me know what you'd like to hear or talk about. And otherwise, find some joy right where you are. All right? Thanks for listening. Bye. So we've reached the end of today's episode. Thanks so very much for listening. It's now time to reconnect to planet Earth and all that comes with living on the blue ball. I'd love to hear your ideas for future episode topics, along with any and all positive and or constructive feedback. Please feel free to contact me at ashysbadass@gmail.com. Thanks again for spending some time with me and allowing me to share myself with you. Until next time, please be gentle with yourselves, be kind to animals, and do all you can to allow your authentic selves to shine brightly.